I used to be a stripper. So what? Well, my boyfriend did not have such a big problem about it. Until he's telling me I have to sell my apartment and go ahead and buy one with him because I bought that apartment with dirty stripper money. Ugh. For several years, I was a stripper. I had no shame about what I did and only quit when I got a better job. In the time I worked as a stripper, I intentionally lived as cheaply as possible. A crappy little studio apartment, living off ramen noodles, wearing hand-me-down clothes from Goodwill. Because my coworkers all told me that they were able to buy their own place on their income, so long as they saved like crazy. Before I, quote, retired, I managed to outright buy myself a 3-bedroom flat. I rented out the other rooms for a while, but I got sick of having roommates. So now I have them up online for shorter stays, but not to rent. I met this guy about 18 months ago, and we've been together since. He knows about my employment history, and he said that he has no issues with it. Though he did ask me to tell his family this little white lie I occasionally use on my CV and stuff, which is that I was a waitress. Which, to be honest, that's what I started as. A month ago, we found out that I'm 2 months pregnant. He says this is great news, and we should move in together. I assumed he'd be moving into my place because he rents his. It's a far smaller 1-bedroom apartment while I own mine. And I have room for a baby room while he doesn't. Also, I really don't want to leave my apartment. It's my apartment. I love it. I could see myself living here for the rest of my days, and I don't want to lose the security of owning a place and have to go back to paying rent or mortgage each month. However, he then said that he didn't want to move into my place, and said I should sell it and we should get a place together. I said I like my place. It means a lot to me that I was able to buy it, and it represents years of working my butt off, scrimping and saving. He then said that he understands all that, but we should be living together by the time the baby comes, and he didn't want to live in my flat. I asked him why not. It's a great flat. It's central to everything, it's spacious, it's got room for all his stuff. There's a daycare in the building, run and owned by another tenant, and a school 5 minutes away, walking distance, the list goes on. And he said that he did not want to live in an apartment that was bought with, quote, stripper money. Well, that really made me mad. I told him no ducking way am I selling my apartment, that he never had an issue with my stripper money paying for his apartment before now. I said I wasn't giving up the security of having a home for someone who tries to make me feel ashamed about something I don't feel ashamed of. He said that his point is, if I sold the apartment, then we could get a new place with the money from the sale. I said, wouldn't that still be stripper money, dude? He said, well, it's different. I asked how, and he said he was going back to his place because, quote, I can't talk to you when you're in this state of mind. Well, he's gone back to his apartment, and now he's texted me saying I'm overreacting, being irrational, and I need to think of this realistically, rather than emotionally like I am. He says he wouldn't feel right raising a child in my flat knowing how I purchased it, and selling/moving's the best idea for all of us. Well, not to mention the fact that he isn't on the deed because it's my place, and quote, it would never feel like our home because of this. I feel I might be the a-hole because I get why he might feel like it's just my place, and I feel I'm being too rigid in a time we need to work together. Plus, I spoke to my sister, and she sided with him, so 2 out of 3 people think I'm wrong here. Am I the a-hole? Quick little update before we hop into the real update. Update on the chance anyone sees this. I dumped him. There's a whole conversation, and during the conversation, he said he didn't want to be a parent if I wasn't willing to do everything he wanted, including sharing a house and deed plus staying together. Also, at the start of the conversation, I said what a few people suggested, which was that I'd be willing to sell and split the house with him, provided he paid 50%. Guys, he got very, very, very angry very quickly. He also said a few other things, so I don't know how it's all going to pan out just yet. But it looks like I'm going to be a single mother. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. So the next update to this story is kind of an off-topic post by the original poster. It came out a day later after the original post, but it kind of takes a turn. A little bit of a trigger warning, there's mention of sexual abuse in this. So let's go ahead and hop into this. I hope you guys are having a great day. If you do want to support the channel, the best way to do that is to subscribe to all 3 of my channels. You can find them directly below in the description along with my Instagram. Alright, here's update number 1. I recently found out I was pregnant. I'm not on the pill and don't have the implant either due to medical reasons. So our only protection was condoms. I'm now 2 months pregnant with his child. I own my own apartment and have a well-paying job, while he owns a failing startup and does agency shifts. We talked yesterday and someone suggested I recorded all interactions, as a few people had already guessed that he might be messed up with our birth control. So I set my phone to record as he arrived. During the conversation, he initially said that if we weren't together as a couple, then he would not want to be in the baby's life. And when I said we could work out a split custody, he said, "That's bullcrap." Later in the conversation, he said, "I thought a baby would fix things." I responded, it couldn't have fixed anything. If anything, it made things more strained with us as the baby wasn't planned, and he snapped at me. "Of course it ducking was. How'd you think you got pregnant, freaking magic?" He then paused and he said, I mean that. It wasn't like, stop making that face, I'm joking." I directly asked him, "Are you saying you messed up the condoms?" And he quietly but audibly says, "Yeah." I told him to get out of my apartment, and he said, Look, have it, don't have it, I don't give a crap," before he left. I later texted him saying, "Just tell me why." He then called me, so I started recording on my MP3 player. Over the phones when he admitted that he was hoping I'd sell my apartment, buy a new place with a mortgage, and we could, quote, give the business a boost. I hung up on him, he's disgusting. Hours before the initial conversation, I spoke to a solicitor who deals with custody stuff regularly. So he says he's helped me with the custody before. However, he's married to my friend and I love her, but she's a bit of a gossip bug and can be a little condescending, as in, "Oh, poor you." So, I don't know. I don't want either of them knowing about any of this if it's unusable. My ex was not aware that I was recording at any point in their recordings, and there's no visual, only audio on both recordings. I mean, we did say each other's names on the first, but not at all on the second. Is this admissible in a custody battle? Is it useful due to context? I feel like he said all the things that would win my case if there was one. But if he can't do anything with it, then I don't want him knowing about it. If it's useful and admissible, then do I just send it to the friend's husband? Thanks in advance, guys. Mr. Reddito here. So the next post came out about 2 weeks later. It'll be a first little quick recap on what's going on so far, and then we'll hop into the crazy update. So, I spent several years working as a stripper, at the end of which I was able to buy my own apartment. I'd been with my boyfriend for 18 months, and I'm currently 3 months pregnant. With the news of the baby incoming, my boyfriend said he wanted to sell my place so we could use the money to get a new place together. When I refused, he called me irrational. I thought I was the a-hole because of that, plus my sister sided with him. Now for the update. Because a lot of people asked for one, first off, I dumped him. He initially said that he doesn't want to be a parent if we're not a couple, but earlier this week he told me he wants majority custody, so not only does he not have to pay child support, but if he gets majority, then I ended up paying him. He actually said that this was his reasoning. He also runs his own startup and admitted the startup is basically done for. And he was hoping that when I sold my place, I could also put a cash injection into his business. So basically, this was all about money for him. There's going to be a legal case, but I've gotten legal advice, and it looks like I'll be able to get sole custody, which is what I intend to go for. In the last couple of weeks, my sister has doubled down, trying to get me to fix things with my ex because, quote, a baby should have a complete family structure. So I've not been involving her in the pregnancy, which she's furious about, by the way. She also told our parents, which I'm furious about, so we're not speaking right now. I just also want to say thank you, everybody who's been listening and commenting on my first post. When I first posted between my boyfriend and my sister, I was genuinely convinced I was in the wrong. So to have such an overwhelming support responsive really helped me realize that I shouldn't doubt myself so much. And with that hesitation and realization, everything going on right now, I've decided to go to therapy, which I'll be starting next week. All in all, the outcome of this is probably going to be making me a single mother in the apartment I own. Honestly, it sounds like a pretty decent outcome. Next update came out just a few weeks after the last post. Guys, I had a scan today. My baby is a twins. The text said it was hard to tell, but she thinks they're identical. She also asked how far along I thought I was, and I said the number I worked out was 14 weeks. But I wasn't 100% certain, as this was my first proper checkup, aside from my GP, who said they'd tell me with a scan. And the text said both me and the babies were a little big for 14 weeks, and that we looked more like 16. She offered me an estimate due to date, and which is just the first half of March. Then said that twins, it can be harder to tell, and that didn't exactly ease my panic. But, guys, twins. There's 2 of them, and there's one of me. I think it's just really hitting me right now that I've never been a mom before, and I have no clue what I'm doing. And there's not going to be one little tiny human, there's 2! Depending on me, who are arriving sometime in March. When in March, I guess it's a surprise. I have room for twins. I have resources for twins. I think I have the energy for twins. But I'm terrified. I have no clue what I'm doing. I have 3 bedrooms, so do I put them in separate rooms or together? My friends offered to stay with me for a little bit after the birth, but I said no. So, am I going to need to take him up on that? Is there anything different about having twins that I should be aware of? Aside from being 2 of them. Also, what do I do about this window the tech gave me? Is that normal? Are they going to be able to narrow it down at any point? I know I just got out of a lot, but if anyone has any advice for me on the due date or due window, or the whole twin situation, it'd be really great. Okay guys, Mr. Edito here. So we left off at that update, and basically OP was feeling helpless. Just finding out twins are on the way, never been a mother before, basically hysteric. So OP did not even post for absolute months. We're going to hop into that update now and see what the heck's been going on. Guys, sorry, but I've been away. I spent 18 months in a relationship that, in retrospect, was very controlling, and I fell out of contact with a lot of friends because of how my ex felt about them. My ex and I broke up. I was pregnant with twins when we split, and I began therapy. The therapist got me to reach out to friends I'd neglected. There were 2 in particular that I really missed and decided to reach out to. First Lily and Caleb. They were so happy to hear from me and were completely understanding of the situation with my ex. I reached out to them mid-October, and it's like we never stopped talking. I've been friends with Lily since we were kids, and I met Caleb at university nearly a decade ago. My ex did not like Lily because she's bisexual, as am I, and he didn't like Caleb because he's a straight man. Since October, I've been talking to both of them regularly. Christmas rolled around and we were all alone, so I said they were welcome to come over. Lily and Caleb had met before this, but they were more acquaintances than friends, and they became friends over Christmas dinner. They and a couple other friends pitched in, and bought me a mixer plus some metric duck ton of baby stuff for Christmas. Lily and Caleb then began coming over every more often. They made a group chat so we could make plans together. They helped me put together the nursery. Lily drove me to one of my appointments, and when I mentioned in passing that I was craving ice cream, Caleb showed up with 4 tubs the next day. These are just examples, but generally they went above and beyond the expectations the last few months. Well, I went into labor 3 weeks ago. Nearly a full month early. With preemie twins, things have been hectic, and I wasn't even taking visitors for the first week. But a few days after coming home, they told me in a group chat to open the front door. And when I did, there was a bag containing ready meals and snacks, plus a couple tubs of formula. When I began taking visitors, they would show up together and one of them minds the kids while the other cleans. The only reason I'm able to write this right now is that they came over earlier. Caleb got both girls to go to sleep, and Lily left me a meal for tonight. I have a weird relationship with the concept of asking for help. I had to be self-sufficient from a young age, so asking other people for help is uncomfortable for me. They know this, which is why that they're not waiting for me to ask, so much as they are just showing up and helping. I've been thanking them profusely, but they always tell me not to thank them, saying that we're friends, so this is completely reasonable. But I know they're doing a lot more than anyone else in this situation would. Which prompts the question, how do I adequately thank Lily and Caleb for everything they've been doing the last few months? Where do I even begin? Hey guys, Mr. Reddito here, so that's all the updates. OP did add at the end though, a little back and forth with a commenter. The commenter mentions, maybe this is how you can adequately thank Lily and Caleb. Maybe write them a letter, thanking them and telling them how grateful you are. You could also plan something like you're all going out together to watch a movie, or get them their favorite snack. OP says, wow, a letter's really a nice idea, and it would save me from just saying whatever comes out of my mouth, LOL. We've watched a movie and TV show together a couple times, but I've always ended up falling asleep. I'm thinking about doing some baking in a bit, so I might make them some brownies. So the more I was reading that story and just reading some of the comments, I think truly that the guy of the story, aka the vile villain, in my opinion, he didn't really care about stripper money. Oh no, I think he was using that as an excuse. What he really cared about, number one, 99%, his only thoughts was he has to get his name on that deed, so he's part of the ownership at 50% because he can't move into an apartment that he doesn't own. So he wants to manipulate her by saying it's because of the stripper money. Yeah, what a vile creature, and he might get the number one toxic person of the story. Drop your thoughts down below, guys. Tell me your opinions on it. Do you think my theory's correct? He didn't really care about the stripper title. He cares about ownership, and this is the way he can receive it. I'm completely guessing based off context clues, but hey, I think I'm right on this one. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this story. If you want to, subscribe to the channel. There's way crazier stories that happen all the time on this channel, and you do not want to miss out on some of the saga stories. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one.